guess give a little bit of a background of who you are and what you do.
Let's see. I feel honestly like I've lived so far up to this point a gazillion lifetimes in one. And I feel like I've been the poster child of a lot of things throughout my life. Background as a child, raised by a single mom. I was raped and molested at 8 years old by my mom's boyfriend, cut to 16, end up pregnant and raped and losing the baby, then getting older and being in severely abusive relationships where I've almost lost my life, numerous things over and over again. And then I want to say, I have been reading people's energy and reading for people, tarot cards and psychic abilities and seeing spirits since I was really young. And I started at 16 reading for people because I was told that I was supposed to do that from another reader in my life. And so I picked it up and just haven't put it down. And then I began to use that to help others in their life. Then I became a life coach and a Reiki master, and I kept layering onto my abilities so I could help more people. So throughout, as I'm doing this, I'm struggling being in abusive relationships and going through all the emotional aspects of things. I didn't love myself for a long time, so my life was really centered around relationships and being in a relationship. And I was a single mom for a long time. My son's 20 years old now, and so we went through a lot through that aspect of things. And so I want to say a year before I met my husband, I decided to buckle down and just really dig in there and get this stuff out and figure it out. Because why am I going into abusive relationships all the time? Why am I, not taking care of myself? I myself had a form of female cancer at one time that I was able to heal naturally. And so, it's like, I believe big time in manifestation, and what we put out there, we get back. And I believe that we are in so much power of our own lives, even in our illnesses, that, we tend to think we are powerless, and I believe that we have power, and I've tapped into myself to do that. So during that year, I ended up dating myself. I just took time for me.
Yeah, I totally understand where you are with that part of it. Because if you have to get to that point where you realize that you are worth it and you're worth taking care of, and taking care of that, or, taking time out to actually, like you said, date yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know there was times when Becky was talking about, well, I'm going to go to the movie by myself. Heck yeah, go to the movie.
You may as well go to the because you don't have to share your popcorn.
Right. Yeah.
You can't talk during the movie anyway. So
yeah, exactly. And I just decided, everything that I always wanted to do with someone that I was in a relationship with that said, I don't want to do that. And I kept putting it off. I just decided I was just going to do it.
Yeah.
And it was a really fun year. And towards the end of that year, I manifested my husband,
right,
Jim, who's just an amazing person, and I'm so blessed by him in so many different ways.
Yeah, he was here at the studio with us. He's incredible, and the love that you two share for each other is just awesome to see. And it's kind of like you follow this really cool love story, like with you guys on Facebook. I absolutely adore the family pictures, the photo shoots. I mean, you guys live out loud.
Yeah, and that's
awesome.
Yeah, my kids are annoyed by it, but they go along with it. And, I'm always telling them, one day you're really going to look back on this and you're going to really have all these memories to share. You know? But, so I had built my own business as a psychic, and I was doing readings for people. And about, I want to say 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About a year ago, my husband lost his job, and I became the sole provider for a minute, and I began to work nonstop. So I was doing what I was telling people not to do. I was working 24/7. I was reading for people at 6 a.m. and at 11 p.m. I was reading 16 to 20 people a day. I never took a weekend off. I was just constantly go, 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 and I was in this fear mode. Right. The fear mode of, not having enough money or not being supported, and I got to work. And so I just went full barrel. Well, I'm really big in listening to my spirit guides and really big in listening to the signs and stuff. And about 3 months into it, I got a big message from my spirit guides that you need to slow down.
Yeah.
If you don't slow down, something's going to happen. And I went, whatever.
I'm in the middle of this. I got to do this. I'll take care of it. I'll get to it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? How bad could it be? And then 3 months after that, I went to the gym. I joined a gym. I was like, I'm going to start working out and get healthy and all that good stuff. I went to the gym, and the next day I woke up with this massive headache. I've had migraines before. I didn't, think too much of it, but it went down into my neck and it wouldn't go away. And so it started to scare me. And so I after I went to the doctor, and my doctor knows I don't like to take anything. I'm as natural as possible.
Right.
And so he's like, well, we're going to give you an antibiotic. And so I said, okay, fine, I'll try that. Well, it didn't work. The headache went away, but then I began to be dizzy. Like, imagine if you are really drunk.
Yep.
That's how I felt 24/7.
And that is a terrible feeling.
Constantly. And so I went back 3 different doctors within a week. And then I went back around and went to my original doctor until somebody would listen to me. And I said to them, something's wrong. Right. I don't know what it is, but something's not right. And in the meantime, in the middle of this, I was woken in the middle of the night by this man's voice saying you needed MRI out of the blue. You need to get an MRI. And I went, okay. So I told my doctor, and he said, at this point, we've exhausted everything else. Let's go ahead and do a CAT scan.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did a CAT scan. Within an hour, had called me back and had told me they found something in my brain.
It's okay, hon.
And I knew it. I was justified. I felt like justified. Like, yes, finally something's there. But then I was scared.
Yeah.
So, and it was the holidays. It was Christmas and then New Year. So I kept having to wait. Like, they do a scan and then they wait, and I wouldn't get my results. And so I was on pins and needles, plus being dizzy all the time.
Right.
And nauseous to my stomach. My head felt like literally someone was putting their hand on the back and pushing me to the ground. It was awful. So finally, my doctor sat me down and said, yes, there's some type of mass in your head, and it has hemorrhaged, which means you have bleeding in your brain. We need to send you to a neurologist or a neurosurgeon. He wasn't sure which direction we need to go. And I said, send me to the best. And so they sent me to Beaumont, and I sat down with my neurosurgeon, who is amazing. And he proceeded to explain to me that after my second MRI that I had a vascular stroke in my brain.
What does that mean?
It means a stroke, but just in your brain.
Okay.
Like I blew a gasket, like my guides were trying to tell me.
Right.
And because of that, I have it's called I can't even say it. It's called a carcinoma tumor, which is really tiny blood vessels all tied together like this.
Wow.
They call it hemorrhoids of your brain.
Okay.
And it's located right next to my pineal gland, which is really deep in your brain, which is another weird thing because it's attached to your psychic eye.
Oh, yeah. Go figure.
So, that had hemorrhaged.
Okay.
So it was bleeding in my brain. And what they do know of this tumor, because they don't know much about it, it's kind of a weird thing, that it does bleed all the time. Okay. It constantly bleeds. A little bit of blood's okay because your brain can reabsorb it usually pretty quickly.
Right.
Usually most people had it for a long time, so I could have had it for years and just didn't know it. And that usually they go in and take it out, but because of the location, I would be risking my eyesight and risking a lot of things with that.
Wow.
So we had to weigh my pros and cons. And the neurosurgeon gave me my options, what we want to do. And I said, am I going to get better? Is this dizziness going to go away? My eyesight was off. I couldn't really see. I couldn't read. I couldn't drive. I definitely couldn't work. It was horrible. And there was times in the beginning that I literally said to my husband, there are worse things than death. And I don't know if I can take this.
Yeah. And
I had to sit down with all my kids and my husband, and we got them all together, explained, if I die, this is what I want done. Right. This is what I need you to do. It was a very scary time because I didn't understand what was going on or what was the outcome. Since then, what I just decided, like, went really dark. Years ago, I dealt with depression.
Right.
I've been diagnosed with bipolar in the past. I've had a lot of issues with a lot of things in my younger years. Mm-hmm. And so I was scared to death of sliding backwards. And I was totally depressed. And I almost hid it from people. I didn't want to, like, tell people about it. And I was like, what do I do? And my guides kept saying, just tell your story. Just tell it, because people need to know. And it's going to help you. And so that's why I started broadcasting and talking about it. And I had just decided that every day I wake up, I'm going to keep fighting.
Yeah.
And I'm going to figure this out. And something's got to help. And so I just started really getting into it and figuring out the brain and what's going on with my head. And my first question to myself, because of my belief system, is how we manifest things in life.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? That was a big question for myself.
What caused? Why is this happening?
Yeah,
what,
and
what
I
did
always
I do to cause this?
I always look at the emotional, mental aspect of things. That's what I always ask my clients to look at. I'm like, where did I go wrong? Because honestly, I'm going to tell you, I thought I was done with lessons. I thought I got this. I'm good. I've been through so much already. What else could happen? No one even thinks of a brain tumor, really.
Right.
But when I look back at those 6 months, I'm not going to lie. There were times that I would get a migraine headache and jokingly say to my husband, do you think I have a brain tumor? And he would go, no. And I just like, I don't know. And then so many times I said, you know what, I'm not going to get a break unless I get sick. So many times I said how tired I was. You know, all these things I was putting out there in the universe.
And it really, like, the universe listens.
Oh, yeah. And if you say it enough times, eventually the universe is like, oh, you want that. I'm going to give that to you.
Yeah, you're asking about that. Yeah.
And so I did it. And so when I got that control, when I realized that, I was like, oh, now I have some control because now I can undo it.
Right.
And then also, this is not something I can take a pill and it's going to go away.
Right.
And that was a hard pill to swallow. And also, I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. I'm trying to figure out who this new Crystal is because my whole life is different. I'm still not driving.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm trying to find things. And I'm going against the grain because I won't do brain surgery. I don't want to do the drugs. They want to give me the steroids and stuff like that. I am doing everything natural, energetically, using energy healings, doing everything I can that I believe in to make it work. I mean, I'm not against surgery. I had a total hysterectomy a few years ago, and completely, if it needs to be done, that's fine. But I just don't feel that it needs to be done.
Yeah, and you feel you know kind of deep down what kind of path that you want to take. And I'm sure at that moment when you said that you did not want to do the surgery, that everybody in the family, I don't know how did they act? Because my husband has learned to trust me. Yeah.
And when I had my hysterectomy, I said out loud to the universe, I don't want any more surgeries. I don't want to have any more surgeries. And so we have to figure this out. And so I think my mother-in-law was concerned the most. She took it really hard, and she wanted me to try the steroids, wanted me to do all that. And so I did. I actually did try the steroid for about 2 days, and then I took myself off of it because it was awful. But I just said there's got to be another way. And so I've decided that I'm just meditating. It's completely slowed me down. I can only do so much, in a day. It's really like opened my eyes to silent illnesses that, I'm not a judgmental person. I never, ever thought anything about someone that would say, I'm sick, but you can't see that I'm sick. But I didn't realize really how true it is until it happens to you.
Right.
And then I'm going, I'm handicapped. I have an illness. I have something that, according to the doctors, this tumor never goes away. This is the type of tumor it is. Luckily, it's non-cancerous, which is great, but it can cause all kinds of symptoms. And I'm so grateful that my eyesight gets funny.
Yeah.
I get dizzy spells, really bad dizzy spells. I get the pressure in my head, my concentration gets off. There's things that happen. Every day's different. I don't know how the day's going to be. Today's been a low day for me because of the rain. Yeah. It makes it worse. And so I'm just like talking myself up. It's like, it's going to be good, But every day I just decide to be happy, no matter what.
And I think that's one of the hardest parts for people that find out that, they have something that is so life altering. And it's hard to pull yourself up and just go, okay, well, I choose to be happy regardless of what's going on. And I think too, with having an amazing support system, and it appears that you have such an incredible support system.
You know what? This has been such a humbling experience for me because I've always made sure that my Facebook page has been a safe haven for people. That's what I set out to do. That I want that my home, everything has to be a safe haven for people to come to. I don't care who you are. When you come to my page, I want you to feel good. That's it. Simple as that. And so that by doing that makes me do that. And I'm telling you, there are times during this process, I get down, I get dark, I get like, I don't know if I can take this anymore. And I don't know if I want to take this. And what's the point type of attitude. And I've got my 20-year-old son who was raised in with manifestation and all that reminding me to stay good. And my husband reminds me to stay good. And so, it definitely pulls me out. And then when people rally together for the donations and stuff and just everything that people have done for us is just amazing. And I just can't wait to give back. That's what I want to do.
But I understand that completely. But you've given so much. I mean, you will post on your Facebook, anybody that needs, it's kind of like putting out some positive or any kind of Reiki energy or anything like that. Like you have given out so much to people, and it's amazing.
I was a single mom. We lived in food pantries. We lived in, Goodwill. We lived in, people giving us Christmas presents and things like that. And so that's what I felt like, my husband and I were not, very materialistic people. We're happy and we want to give back as much as we can. And so like, the charity events that I've done just to help people, and I just want to keep doing more of that. It just feels that that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
We're figuring out some stuff going on there, but perfect. I mean, and that's something kind of like what we're looking at wanting to do too, is we want to continue to give, so maybe together we could, continue.
I have some ideas.
Okay.
Cause,
awesome.
Because I have some things in the works right now. Now I'll tell you real quick what happened in the last couple weeks. Because I know a lot of people have been asking me and inboxing me, like, what am I doing holistically wise? What am I taking? What am I this, that? I work with 2 holistic doctors. Julia Deere, who's a holistic chiropractor, is amazing. Absolutely love her.
Where is she from?
She's out of Pigeon and Bay City.
Okay.
And I trust her with my life. And not only does she help me with my body, but she helps me with my emotional state too. She always, like, if I go in there and I'm in a bad space, she always pulls me out of it. And then I have another one. Her name is Isla. I can't remember. Pickle Nil. She's out of Birch Run.
Okay.
But she's super cool too, and she's helping me, where I need to be. And then my neurosurgeon is solely awesome. And I told him, I said, I'm going to be the worst patient because I don't want to do anything with drugs.
Okay.
So you're going to have to find a new way.
You got to understand that.
So what I have come together with is that I take certain supplements like vitamin D, high vitamin D, vitamin B12. I'm taking, it's called poke root. It's a natural herb that I'm on. It's a detox. It gets things out of your system. Okay. I've done foot detoxes. I've done some other different types of scans. I use medical marijuana. I use CBD oil. And I'm going to tell you, out of everything that has been helping me, the CBD oil is the one.
I've heard incredible things about that.
I'm telling you, and I'm a person that likes to be proven. I need to see it. And I start to think, because what I'm buying, it's expensive. And so I'm just like, okay, is this stuff really work?
Right. So is this just a hype? Is this just something that's going to go, out here in the next couple months or year? But I've heard such incredible stuff.
2 weeks ago, I've been on it for 3 months.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, I couldn't afford it, so I had to wait, and so I went off of it. Within 5 days, because I was doing really good like I'm doing now, within 5 days of being off of that CBD oil, I backslid to the beginning.
Oh, wow.
It was awful. And I'm going, what did I do wrong? What's going on? Is there another bleed? What's happening? So I got a hold of my neurosurgeon, which again is amazing because he'll talk to me on the phone and talk me down. And he says, what have you done different in 3 weeks? I told him, he says, I honestly think you probably should go back on that CBD oil and check it out. And so I did. Within 3 days, I was back to feeling back to semi-normal.
Wow.
Where I could actually function.
That's incredible.
And so I'll be on it for the rest of my life if I have to. But it works.
It helps you to maintain and, keep moving in your life, it's...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame you. When my mom was sick, she had pancreatic, and she also had medical marijuana. And, some people were just like, oh, I can't believe. But you know what? I supported that. I wanted, she had times where she couldn't eat, and I'd be like, hey, Mom, remember, you must smoke that. And, and then she'd be like, oh, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that was something that helped to keep her going. And I mean,
when it comes to, my kids have seen it. I can't sleep in a bed anymore because I can't lie flat. So I have to sleep in a recliner. This is what I've been doing for 6 months.
Yeah.
I sleep in a recliner because I have to sleep sitting up.
Okay.
And then when it went from me staying in that recliner all day because I couldn't even see straight to where now I can actually function and have a conversation. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it's something that works for me. I'm doing, taking more classes on it. I'm very big on education, educate yourself.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, we, my son's girlfriend who's here tonight, Alyssa, is absolutely amazing. I love her to death. I always tell
she's
me
super cute
good.
too, by the way. I know you guys can't see that, but
she's very cute. And, but I always tell my son jokingly that I get her in the divorce, just saying. But no, we are actually, because I can't really be on the laptop very much.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for me to do a lot of typing and stuff. So she's my eyes. So she and I are co-writing my autobiography.
Oh, that's incredible.
So it's going to be a question format type of thing, and she's helping me write that. And we're working really hard. We should hopefully have the first draft within about a month.
That's cool.
And so
I'm excited.
Yeah, and it's going to be a life coaching type of thing for people too. What can you, do? My experience is how to actually live through them and what to do for your own life type of thing. But we're definitely working on that type of stuff.
That is awesome. I'm so glad. I like to be able to hear these stories where people, you may be struggling and you, like you said, you've gone to dark places, you've had issues, but you are rising up and you're putting it out there so that anybody else that is dealing with this knows they're not alone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I literally, like I said in the beginning, it was, that saying there are worse things than death didn't ring so true to me than it did in those moments, because it's a scary thing to think that you have to continue to be like this for the rest of your life. And, I'm still dizzy. Like my head is constantly buzzing. It's always buzzing, but it's nowhere near how it was as long as I stay on my routine. And so, plus I changed my diet. I had to take soy out of my diet completely because soy is estrogen, which can make things grow. So
I not to cut you off there, but I had to deal with that when I had uterine cancer.
Yeah.
And I had no idea, but the doctors were like, yeah, your cancer's feeding off of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, soy is
Yeah.
evil.
That's the first thing my holistic doctor said. She says, I picking up a lot of soy. And I was making soy candles at the time.
Oh, okay.
And I said, does it matter? I mean, she says, you're breathing in those fumes. You're getting it in your system. You're touching it. Does not matter. So I got rid of all my makeup. I got rid of everything. It just completely just took it out of the ball game. And it's definitely been a game changer. But
it's in everything.
Yeah,
it
is.
So
I
much.
spent half an hour at the store one day looking for mayonnaise with no soy. And I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? But
that's crazy.
And I've been reduced to eating like a rabbit, but I feel better, and that's all that matters to me. And but yeah, I'm looking into being an inspirational speaker and doing things like that and trying to help other people through that type of aspect of things. And but yeah, it's just, I'm happy to be alive. When you go through something like that, you don't know what's going to happen. And every day I wake up is a good day. Yeah. Simple as that.
And that's one of our favorite things, mine and Becky both. We wake up, like, she'll message me and she'll be like, today's going to be a great day. Or I'll message, today's going to be a great day.
Yep.
And I think truly, like, I've seen the post of, one positive thing in the morning will set you forth. And I feel like it's true.
Absolutely. It's like having a good breakfast.
Helping so much.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do have a couple things. Some people are chiming in on the chat. Adam says, great guys. What incredible ladies. Jeremy says, hey girls, good to hear you. Sounds great. And also Tony tuning in. Hey guys, episode 2, awesome. Much love and respect. Crystal, you are a badass. Keep being epic. So we like to be able to jump on and check out chat because we have a lot of people that are here and supporting, and I just want to thank them. And like I said, we're so glad to be, here with you and hearing your story. And guys, keep on looking out for the book that you're working on.
Yeah, we're doing the book. Eventually, it's right now. It's pretty much what's going on in my head. If my head says yes, that's what I'm doing. And if it says no, then I'm listening because I didn't listen for so long. And that's the most important thing is listening to your body, especially. If your body says you need to slow down, then you need to slow down. And what I've learned about this type of tumor, anytime that it does hemorrhage, a lot of people have said it's because of stress. The stress will make, of course, that does it with anything in your system.
Makes sense, yeah.
And so I'm very under strict orders to not be under any stress, which is fun with my husband because he can, bug me, but but he loves me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely. I do a lot more meditating, a lot more, every day it is being mindful and just being conscious of being in a good space. But, laughter, I've used laughter as healing is a big thing for me.
Yeah, I've seen on and I love these videos. And I think I was showing Becky the one about with you manifesting
Yes,
Ellen.
I'm manifesting. Yes, I'm a manifester. I've manifested things throughout my life, especially now when I look back at things, especially with this. I manifested this with what I'm saying. I'm a big believer putting energy out there. Things, will grow from that. And so, Ellen DeGeneres is one of my role models. I absolutely love her.
I don't blame you.
She is amazing.
She is. She's very funny.
Yeah, I have been watching her for over 16 years.
Yeah.
And her strength and just the things that she's accomplished and what she does for people is just amazing. And that is definitely when, especially in my lower moments when this happened, I'm like, you always stop and go, did I do enough?
Yeah.
When you're on this, like, am I going to die? Did I do enough in this life? Did I accomplish? Is my bucket list done? What didn't I do? And so when I looked around at my life, I actually was like, I think I've done pretty good at this point. And hear myself.
People are joining in on the chat to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And
But,
so sorry about that.
But yeah, I just felt like, you know what? I'm in a comfortable space. If this is it, if this is the way I'm going, then I'm good. I'm good where I'm at.
You made peace with
very peaceful.
That.
I'm at peace at that. I'm not scared. It's not about that. I have great kids. I'm glad that they're older, and my great husband, I great career. People are, I just felt good. But my friend's like, what else? There's something. I was like, I really want to meet Ellen DeGeneres. That is like
that's one of your things.
my thing. I just really love her. I think she's inspiring. And honestly, there's days that my rough days when I can't get out of that chair, she's what I watch. My husband even today is like, Ellen, again? I'm like, she is part of my routine every single day now. You can't take that away.
And I don't blame you. I mean, anything to have a good laugh. And I think you also have been reading some positive books, different things.
Oh yeah.
Anything that you'd recommend to anybody going through something like this?
You know what? Anything by Wayne Dyer is amazing. I absolutely love him. He's one of my go-tos. I have him on my audio. I listen to him, constantly. He's just such inspiration about being in the here and now. Eckhart Tolle's good. Who else is, Donna Eden she's amazing, and she talks about energy healing and about your meridians. And I've been doing a lot of work with my meridians and healing those with your chakra system and things like that.
What are meridians?
We have these energies that go like this, like kind of like down your body.
Okay.
And have you ever heard of acupuncture?
Yes.
Okay, that's what they are going off of is your meridian system.
Okay.
And
right.
If it's you want them to crisscross, so there's a lot of exercises that I do that you're crisscrossing things because you want them to crisscross. It just makes everything balanced. and then you can like smooth them out and go all over your body. But it's very scientific, and they've done a lot of research on it. And Donna Eden, if you look her up, is amazing. And she tells her story where she came from. She's an older lady, and she's just done amazing things and brought herself out of health issues.
Yeah.
And I know that when I do, it's called the morning routine. So if you YouTube it, it's Donna Eden's morning routine. So if you go on there, she shows you exactly step by step. It's like 5 minutes. It takes 5 minutes.
That's it. And you do this every day?
Every single day, I get up and do it.
I guess my question is, what does a typical day look like for you? I mean, with the stuff that you're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I get up, it's what it has come to is that I get up in the morning, and before I even get out of my chair or get up to go do anything, I turn on Abraham Hicks, and I listen to the Morning Rampage is what it's called. It's on YouTube, and it's her or him going, "It's a good day. Today is a good day. Today is a good day. Today you're going to be in your vibrational match. It's a good day." And it just continues on that for like 10 minutes. And so I listen to that, and sometimes I listen to other things. But then I get up and deal with my puppies because they're the love of my lives.
They are adorable too.
Yes, they are.
Life would be so boring without puppies.
Right?
She's got herself a little.
I have a little pit bull named Cupid, and yes, he keeps me going in the morning.
Yeah, my Lydia just got fixed, and she's a pit bull mixed with a Chihuahua.
Oh,
yes,
she's
very
cute.
Interesting mix, and
that would be an interesting.
She's great.
mix.
But yeah, I get up and then I do my morning routine, the energy exercises. I do those. Those takes about 5 minutes, and then I drink celery juice now from the medical medium.
Is it just celery?
Just celery juice. I drink that every single morning. It's good for digestion. It's good for healing. I do that. I eat my breakfast and take my vitamins and do all that stuff. Take my CBD oil. I do that 3 times a day. I have to take that 3 times a day. It's at a higher dose. And then I have my morning coffee, which I've given up so much. And when my holistic doctor says, "I think you're going to have to give up coffee," I'm like, I'm not giving that up. It's the one thing that I do every morning that makes my day. So you're not taking away.
And you have like these incredible mugs too.
Yes, I'm a big mug person. I've
too.
traveled around my whole life. Like my mom was a truck driver.
Okay.
So I grew up on a truck, and we went everywhere, and we never really were somewhere for very long. And so as an adult, my poor kid, same thing. We moved around so much.
Yeah.
And so when I met my husband, I finally became stationary. And I'm like, what is it that I like to collect? Mugs. So I have 20 different.
You have an incredible like mug collection.
It goes with my moods. I'm just going to be like, this is what I'm going to be like today. But I do that, and I have my office is still set up in my home, and so I go in there a lot. And it's funny because it's like I do readings for myself to help me stay on cue, and I have a Reiki table set up in the middle, and I have these crystals hanging from the ceiling that I use for energy and chakra healings. And I was shown that in meditation to do that one day. It says you need to do this, and so I did, and it's just been really great. And and I do a lot of crafts, lots of crafts.
Speaking of, she's brought me an amazing. I'll put it up on the Survivor Girl page after we're done with the show. It is an incredible piece of work, like artwork.
It is.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely
Beautiful. And can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I just was so a friend of mine told me, she says, Crystal, I'm sure people have noticed I've taken a kind of a hiatus from Facebook because I was told that, you got to pull back a little bit to do some more healing at a different level.
Yeah.
And so, and because even though I'm healing, I still want to help other people. And so that's what I'm doing. And I was told you need to find a hobby that's just for you. And I said, well, it's going to be kind of hard because everything I do is for other people. And but I know it's the most important person is to take care of yourself first, because then you can give more to others. And so I was just thinking about you, and I was like, I really would like to give her a gift. I'm just like, what do I have? I was walking around because I have a little shop in my home that I sell crystals and stuff out of. And so I was like walking around. I was like, what can I give her? And I'm just like, nothing's enough. And I'm just like, and I have all these canvases, and I have this big ideas in my head all the time. I'm going to be this big painter, and I'm going to paint all this stuff. Not going to happen. I am very eccentric. I love to paint, but it just doesn't come out to what I think it should. Yeah. And so, but I love to do crafting, like Maj Pajin and like scrapbooking type of stuff and all that good stuff. And then I read energy. So I thought, I'm going to read her energy real quick. I'm going to see what she needs. What kind of inspiration does Heather need?
And you're spot on.
Yeah. So I just, I tapped in and I just started going and just started flowing. And then I just put it all together on the painting, on the canvas. And
it's beautiful. I love it. And
Thank
everybody
you.
in the studio was just like, oh, what is that? So I will definitely post that up, guys, so you can see it, because it is incredible. And I from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It means a lot to me. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so you're doing the crafts, and you are
doing the crafts. It's just I'm not gonna lie. There are some days I walk around that house twiddling my thumbs. I'm just going, what else can I do? This is so boring, because I'm so used to being with people.
You're a high frequency person
all the time, and I am
it.
so used to like talking to like my clients all the time, and so now it's just like, and I keep asking, because I have people message me all the time. Are you ready? Can you read yet? Can you read yet? And I'm just like, no, I can't. I keep asking. Can I? No, you can't do it yet. And I think what it is that because the hemorrhage, because it is located next to my pineal gland, which controls the psychic abilities, that until the hemorrhage goes away, and it takes time, the doctor said it could be anywhere from 3 months to a year. I'm at 6 months. And so, it's doing good. It's doing what it's supposed to do. We're happy with that progress. And as long as I keep on my holistic routines, everything seems to be good. But until that hemorrhage is completely healed, I don't even want to risk it. Because,
I don't blame you.
Even my holistic doctor she does reflexology on me. She won't even go near that gland in my head because of that reason. And it's so funny. My neurosurgeon, we're sitting there and we're looking at my scans one day. And he goes, all of a sudden he stops and he looks at me and he goes, do you think that's where your powers come from? And I went, oh, maybe. I was all excited because I didn't really, he knew I'm very vocal about what I do for a living. So that's not a big deal, but we didn't really get into details. And he said that, and he's like, honestly, out of all the patients I've seen, anybody who's ever had a tumor, any type of tumor in that same location is either schizophrenic or psychic. And wow, I'm glad I got the psychic.
Right. No joke. I just have to say that there's a light in the studio that I don't think has ever been on in the whole 5 years that I've been here, and it just popped on.
That happens.
While she's talking about this in studio, like this light just pops on. We're wait, what's
it's like, what?
Hey.
So
hey, how you doing?
I had to mention that.
Yeah.
Right?
Someone came in.
Yeah.
But and so I'm just very cautious, and I'm going to let my body heal. I'm going to take the time that I need to heal. And I'm definitely going to be doing things differently when I come back on board. When I start to do readings again and start to do that type of stuff, it's going to definitely take a different tune.
Yeah.
And because it has to. And I know that this was meant to happen for a reason. I'm honestly kind of grateful that it happened because it gave me back my life. This tumor situation gave me back my life because I was working so much. I didn't have time for my kids.
Right.
I didn't hang out with friends. I didn't see my husband. I was
on the go.
always working.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it. And when this happened, now I have no choice. I have to spend time with my kids and things. It's just so much nicer.
Yeah.
And I just realized how much I was missing out on. And so I know this time around is going to be a different aspect. And I look at it like it's like a second chance at doing something different.
And how, like you said, now with this whole situation happening, that you're different than who you were before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably part of who you are becoming.
Yeah.
Because you've learned that it's like, okay, I can take a breath. I can take time for me, and I can take time for my family and my friends and what's most important, but still do things to help other people out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, at least me personally, I was so caught up on having enough money, having my bills paid, doing this, doing that. And we all, we live in a materialistic world. That's reality.
Right.
But I think that for me, I was putting too much worry and too much concern into it. And that it played the fear aspect of things played a role. But I definitely, through this process, I have been mourning who I was because I'm not her anymore.
Right.
And so now I'm just letting it unfold and listening to where I'm supposed to be doing.
Got a couple more things in the chat. Derek is joining us. Thank you, Derek, for joining and tuning in. And Becky said that as well. And Tony says he wants an autographed copy of your book.
Oh, jeez.
And he also said family is everything. And it's true. You don't have to be blood to have family, to be a part of someone's circle.
Oh, no.
I mean, I've found I do have some great family, so there's disclaimer there.
Yeah.
But I do have some really amazing friends that have come into the fold that are family.
Yeah, my family is it's just pieced together by anybody that is, good feeling and loves me and just really cares genuinely. And it's very interesting when you go through it, and I'm sure that everybody knows when you go through a hard time like this, you really discover who really has your back, who really loves you, who really is there, because there are people that I would thought that would have reached out have not reached out.
Yeah.
And so, and I at first was kind of hurt by that, but then I just thought, you know what? That's your journey, and this is my journey, and that's okay.
And that's a hard lesson, though, too. I mean, it really is when you have that situation come up, and you're like, oh, we've been friends for however,
right?
And then it's all you're like, okay, so I guess but that it's a good positive way to think about it.
Oh yeah, it's just I just choose. I don't have time or energy or health reasons to hold on to any crap anymore. Yeah. And then you see, like, I've made some wonderful connections, through this journey. Some really awesome, like my friend Talia. Talia Green, I'm going to just call her out. She hates that. But she was a client, and we just only talked in readings, and I'd been working with her for a while. And then when this happened, she happened to not be working at the time. She was laid off, and she says, I got you. And she took me to every single appointment. She drove me around. She was there at the worst time, holding my hand in the doctor when I got the diagnosis, all those things. She was there, and she's just someone I just knew through doing a couple readings for, and she just stepped up, and I was just like, okay, you're here.
Yep.
And it just was an amazing thing, and now she's like my sister. I love her to death.
That's awesome. And
I was gonna say we have sort of the same story.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm like, me and Becky have that same thing. When I was diagnosed, she was with me. She was there for me to find out what the next steps and everything were. She's taken me to appointments and vice versa, and it's important to have that. And it's like you said, you just did readings with her, but now she's like a sister.
Yep.
And that's one of the best kind of friendships, because you never expect it.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that's incredible, and I'm glad that you gave her the shout out, because like I said, I do follow you on Facebook, and I've seen you give her love for that, and it's incredible. And it's good to have that kind of support. You have a very good support system. It's great.
And I think it's definitely important to have that, because especially my husband has just been above and beyond. I mean, the man is amazing, and I'm so thankful. I even tell him, I say, I'm so glad this has happened at this time in this relationship, because any other relationship, it probably wouldn't have turned. I wouldn't have be where I am, because he has just been such an instrumental part in helping me heal. And he finally, he got a really good job. He went to school and became a welder, so now he's got a great job, which is great. And we're building back, things up. But he, the man works third shift. And he will take me to appointments during the day and then come home and go to sleep and go to work. I mean, the other day, he takes me to go get my nails done, because my friend finally convinced me, go get your nails done.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I don't want to get my nails done, and just go get your nails done. And so I said, fine. And so the guy goes to work third shift, wakes up around noon, takes me to go get my nails done, which is where he works at, a half hour away, drives back, drops me off, goes to sleep for a couple hours, then goes back to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so blown. I'm just, and then he's like, I'm like, thank you so much for what you do. And he's like, what do I do? You don't even know. That's even better.
Right.
Sounds like somebody else we know.
Yeah, right. That's cool. I mean, when you guys were here in studio, just to see how much you guys love each other and how much you take care of each other.
Yeah,
and
he's my best friend.
It's incredible to have that kind of a relationship, and at these kind of points in your life, not having somebody that can stand up like that and just be there is, I feel bad for people that don't.
Right. And it's just, for a long time I put up with a lot of stuff from a lot of people, and in relationships especially. I was in some bad relationships, and when I before I met him, I had just decided that I'm not going to get anything less than what I deserve. And when I met him, I laid it all out, and he's like, whoa, like, hey, but no, it's been 4 years, and even people didn't think we'd make it a year. And just people who knew him from the past and knew me from the past thought, nah, and but we're not the same people. And we both grown, and he's grown, and things have, it just, but this is definitely, it's been a strain. I'm not going to lie. It would be a strain on any relationship.
Right.
Things have been not always easy, and he deals with things too. He feels powerless. He can't help me. And, and then we come to find out, doctor's orders, I'm not allowed to go mud bogging anymore, which is a huge thing for us. People don't think what's the big deal. That was our life.
Right.
And that was
where you guys got married too.
Yes, we got married in a mud bog. I love riding his mud truck. It's something that connected us, and it's an activity that we can't do together anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a big chunk. That's our whole summer.
Right.
And so, it's just adjustments. We're definitely making adjustments in what I can do. And, for the last 6 months, everybody's life. My son's, he lives next door. They live right next door to us. Everybody's life has been centered around my illness for the last 6 months.
Right.
And so now it's just every day is just a good day. It's just good to be alive.
Yeah. And every day I can imagine, like, knowing, when you have a second chance, the things that you want to do differently.
Yes, absolutely. I just, my thing is like just being a better parent, being a better, being a better person in general for anything, and not stressing over things. Yeah. Because it's just, it's easy to do. We're all human beings. We do it, but it's just not worth it.
What is something that you can tell somebody who stresses over, like, one way how to try to stop them from doing that, or how do you find yourself to get rid of the stress? Just gonna take while you're taking a drink here really quick, I'm just gonna say Jeremy Gibbs, who's tuning in, says true family are the people who not just love you but are when you need them, regardless of biological connection, and vice versa. And that's so true. So true.
Absolutely. Well, number one, to remember stress is a killer, and it affects us on a physical level. It's not, a lot of people seem to think that it's just an emotional level, but if you're sick, if you're physically ill, you need to really look at what's going on in your life. In general, what stressed you out to that much, because our brain is attached to our body, and it does affect us. It releases endorphins, it releases chemicals into our body that can act negatively. Yeah. So, when I stress, because I still stress, I do the bills. So it's like I'm seeing what we don't have and what we do have. And so positive affirmations have been a lifesaver for me. And it is, lately for me, it is, when I start to stress, I have this one mantra that I say over and over again. It only gets better. It only gets better. Yeah. And I take a deep breath and I just say it out loud, and I say it only gets better because I won't allow anything else. And then my husband has taught me to say, we always have money no matter what. Even if it's a quarter in your pocket.
You always have money.
You always have money. And when you do that, and I've noticed that, when you do that mantra, things just flow. It just starts, like when you didn't have, we were like, oh my gosh, how are we going to pay for my medicine? And I got a $70 check in the mail. And it's just like, whoa, okay. But that's because we stopped stressing about it and just say, you know what, it's just going to happen. But, you got to find things that relieve your stress, because we're going to have stress. No matter what, you're going to have stress. If you live in this world, there's going to be things that can stress you out. Yeah. So you got to pick and choose your battles. What is really, think about, like, if I stress about this now, am I going to really be focusing on this in 5 years? My husband and I do that when we start to argue. One of us will go, are we going to be really discussing this in a week from now? Is this really, really important for us to argue about, like, who took the trash out? Is it really that big of a deal to bring that stress level up? And so, you just have to really learn to pick your battles. What's most important, what isn't. If it's something that you feel like you need to stress about, you're worrying about, remembering that whatever you put energy into, you build on, so you get more of that. And so my focus isn't stressing on the tumor in my head or focusing on the bleed in my head or anything like that. My focus is on healing and being calm and knowing that I talk to my brain all the time. I'm like, look, we work together here. You've got a cut, you have a sore, something happened. I contribute to that. We're going to work together and make this work. But I would say, find things that you can relieve stress from. I've learned that apparently I like to bake and cook at this point in my life. That didn't surprise me, but I actually like to do it, and it's actually soothing for me. Take a walk, scream if you have to. There's times I will walk, I will scream. I love to cuss. I'm a cusser. I do.
Me too.
I am. So I will just cuss, and just get it out.
Yeah.
Never not allow yourself to cry. Crying is great. Sometimes that's all I want to do is just cry. There are days that's all I do is cry. Why? I say I do get in those spaces, but I just don't live there anymore. But yeah, it's definitely a release. You got to release it. And then you just, positive affirmations have changed my life.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it only gets better. As simple as that.
So if you're going through something right now, three of us in here are proof that you can overcome whatever is trying to hold you down. You can get back up off the ground.
Absolutely.
You can overcome whatever situation, and it may be different. You might be a different person after. Most likely that's what's going to happen. Regardless,
and
you're going to be different.
The exciting thing.
It actually really is. And I think
it really is. Yeah.
From all of our experiences of being survivors, I think learning you really learn who you really are, and it's incredible once you start feeling that and you start becoming who you are meant to be. There will be bumps in the road. There will be health issues. There will be all kinds of different things that are going to try to hold you back throughout life, but that's life.
Yeah.
And I think that part in learning how to navigate through it is the most important thing.
Absolutely. And just, it's okay to be stressed out. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. Just don't live there.
Absolutely. And we've got a couple things going on in chat, and Jeremy says that right on, stress kills. 90% of all non-injury sickness is rooted in emotional and mental disease. Tony says the best is yet to come. Dragon Slayer says crying only proves we are human and that emotions are okay to have. And Tony also said that getting out of your own way is the hardest thing to do, but it is so worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. When this happened, I'm a big believer in forgiveness. I believe I've had to. I forgave the person who molested me. I forgave, the person who raped me. I forgave all that because I didn't want to carry that with me anymore.
Right.
I just didn't mean I forgot it. Didn't mean it didn't change me. Didn't mean it was right, but I know that they don't control me anymore. And so I let that go.
You forgave them for you, not them.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So when this happened, I was like, shit, who am I supposed to forgive now?
Right.
I had to forgive myself.
Yeah.
I was so angry at me because I'm like, you did this. You knew better and you let this happen.
Right.
And that was me talking to me. And I was so angry at myself. And there's no one else out there. I wasn't pointing that finger at anybody else. This was all me.
Yeah.
And I had to go through that process of forgiving myself and going, it's okay,
What a feeling when you're the one pointing your finger at yourself, But it's good, though, that you can recognize and be like, okay, I did. But now it's time to own up and it's time to take care of what I did and, move forward. And I think, you were incredibly strong.
Well, thank you.
I enjoy your post and you sharing with us what you have got going on.
They've been speaking to me particularly lately.
How,
so.
Just
my
strength.
Yeah. My husband's like, how long are you going to be off Facebook? Because I miss you on there. You need to come back on Facebook. Why aren't you back on Facebook? When are you going to come back? And I said, all right. I was going to be longer, but I'm like, I'll wait my next scan for I have a new MRI next week.
Okay.
And
so I'll see where everything's at that point. But I said, I'll come back on after that.
I was going to say, and it's also been suggested that with all of our hashtags that we're doing on social media,
Yes.
in honor of Crystal, and only if she says it's okay, we should hashtag it's always going to get better.
Yes, perfect.
I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, in honor of you, we'll go ahead and put that as one of our hashtags on Survivor Girl. We're on all kinds of social media, so it's hard to get away from it.
Facebook,
Snapchat. We are on
Twitter.
everything.
You know, I was on Facebook. That's primarily where I was at, and then I found out that Ellen was on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna join Twitter. And then I found out she was on Instagram, so I'm on Instagram now. Now I'm on all these things going, Ellen.
So you're Ellen stalking.
Yes, pretty much. Well, you know, it's gotten to my poor son over here. He is so great, and so he has now cut and pasted and put an Ellen in our family photos.
I've seen those. Those are
great.
And put me on her show. I mean, like. Cut and pasted me and put her in a picture, and he's like, Mom, these are kind of creepy. I said, no, you won't say that when I'm on the show.
Exactly. I thought those were great. I was just like laughing, and the video when you are telling Ellen, hey, look, I am one of your biggest fans.
Yeah,
and the dogs were so funny, and you guys were just laughing. And to me, like, seeing you laugh and everything was so good, because when you did your video, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
When you told about what was going on with you, like, I broke down.
Oh.
Yep.
It's
there we
okay,
go.
Heather.
Just let those tears flow. I love to cry.
So like that was rough to see that, because I'm like, you know, I've followed you, and you know, we've been friends for a while, and I was just like, oh man, that was a kick in the chest.
I
and,
had
a
friend come over, and he said to me, comes up and gives me a big hug, and it's funny because he's a great guy. It's actually kind of weird scenario. He's actually my ex-husband, and he's actually someone who abused me, and for 3 years, and he's very he does not deny it. And we've sat down and talked about it, and there's been a lot of forgiveness and stuff. And so he comes over, he brings his daughter over, we hang out, my husband, they get along, and it's a good scenario. Yeah. But he came over when it all happened, and he gives me a hug, and he's like, why you? He starts crying. He's like, why you? Of all people, why you? And I said, why not me? Yeah. Why? I'm no different. And why me? Because I can do this, because I'm meant to do this, and I'm supposed to do this, and there's a reason for this, and I don't know exactly sure what I'm going to be doing with this, but I'm supposed to do this. Is just another thing that I'm going to be doing to help people.
And it's been a crazy journey.
Yes, it has
in
been.
this past 6 months, and you know, like I said, you've got a lot of really good support, and it's awesome to see that. And we're okay with you taking your time off of Facebook, but when you get back on, we'll be happy also. Yes, because it is you're.
Oh, I miss it every day. I'm just I miss it. That's why I'm on Instagram now, and Elijah's like, that's just the same thing, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Don't you tell me, sir. Don't you tell me. Yeah, I get you. But you know. We've already made it to our hour mark, and but what we're gonna do is we have the episode already recording, and we are gonna go back and play from the beginning so you guys get it, because we had a technical error. YouTube has been kind of interesting trying to get through and navigate since it's changed. So we will play from the very beginning. We will record, and we're going to continue on for a little bit longer with Crystal, because you have so much stuff that you're sharing with us, and it's awesome. And we have the chat still going. So we also have Jeremy saying that forgiveness of others, but even more of yourself, is so healing.
Yes.
It keeps your heart clean and healthy.
Yes, it does.
I mean, thank you guys for sharing in the chat. It's great when you guys tune in and you're listening, and so we're gonna keep on going with a little bit more with your story and stuff, because I feel like there's still more. There's still more. But we will go ahead and we will play from the very beginning. We will put that up later, and we'll switch out. So we're glad that you guys are able to join us in chat. So that will all still be on there, and we will start from the beginning. We'll re-air it later on, probably after the show. So we'll get that link over to you. Make sure that it's shared, and we got you. And we'll also put it up on all of our social media. And also put in there for Ellen to listen. She's got to listen. Yes. So also they're asking for more because this episode is great. So
great. Okay.
we're gonna keep on going. So we were talking about, the whole forgiveness and I imagine that had to have been pretty interesting with, you forgave him
Yes.
as an abuser, and here he is crying and asking you, why you, and I think your answer's perfect.
I'm no different than anybody else. And it's just, I always have taken lately in the last few years, I've taken anything that's happened to me, even my hysterectomy, was okay, this is a chance to do something more.
Right.
And I'm excited about this challenge. And this is just a little bit, this scenario was, I was in shock.
Yeah.
I'm like, a brain tumor? Really? Of all things? Wow. And so after the shock wore off, I was like, I'm meant to do something with this.
Yeah.
Something has to come from this. And so I just had decided that every day that I wake up and I open my eyes, I'm going to just keep pressing forward, and I'm going to find something to do, and it's going to help other people.
Right.
Whatever that may be. I just want to be an inspiration to help others and know that you can get through anything. I mean, I've worked with clients in the past, or children. Parents have brought me their children who have been in abuse scenarios.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for my situation back when I was 8 years old, because I'm able to help others now, because I have an understanding that maybe someone else doesn't understand.
Right.
But I also can tell you that you can be raped and molested at 8 years old, and you can turn out great, and you can do great things, and it does not have to affect you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it can make things change. And but I also know the hell that you can go through, and what it can do to you, and do to your mind, and do all that stuff. And I just wasn't going to let him win. He wasn't going to win. Simple as that. And, I actually suppressed that up until my early 30s. I had memories and I had visions of it, but I thought maybe they were dreams or something weird. I just didn't know where it came from, because I had suppressed it so much. And at that time, at 8 years old, I actually started astral projecting at the same time to protect myself.
Right.
So it didn't come until I had my daughter and I gave birth to her. And then it all came back. Like, it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Wow.
And then I had to deal with it all, plus having an infant. And I just chose that I'm not going to let this, don't want this to go with, this is not who I am.
Right.
What he did to me is not going to ruin me, and I'm going to survive.
And that was probably your first part of your being a survivor at
Yeah.
such a young age.
Yeah.
And probably at that time, like, you didn't understand that you were, or maybe you did understand that you were a survivor. I don't,
My spirit did.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
It definitely, there's things put in place, it seems, by the gods to protect me. Definitely. Because I've been through so much through my lifetime that I should have been dead a long time ago. But I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
And so, and I keep, and it's so funny that it's like, they just keep giving me more, and I keep saying, I've learned my lesson. No more, please. But no, I'm just, it's funny. We were just talking on the way over here of like your bucket list again, all the things. I always wanted to go skydiving. That was like a big thing on my list. There's no way I can do that now, but I always kept putting it off. This is like a lesson. Don't put things off, because I put it off. I was like, oh, I'll just do it next year. I'll do it next year. And I kept putting it off. Now I'm in a position where it's not advisable to jump out of a plane.
Right.
And so I told him, I said, I'm going to do it when I'm 99 years old.
There you go.
I'm going to jump out of a plane at 99 years old. I'm manifesting it now. And he's like, well, why 99? I said, because after that, I'm not going to care.
Right. You might as well go big at that point.
Yeah.
Because you've already lived.
Right.
You've already
Exactly.
done. And one of the things, like, I know I met you actually, and unbeknownst to me, I met you when we were actually working in a nursing home together.
Yes.
And I had no idea. All I know is I remember you had the coolest hair and tattoos and everything. And I was like, that is so awesome.
Aww.
I'm like, and the residents really loved you, and they were very nice. I mean, it was very cool. And I was like, that is a really cool chick.
Well, thank you.
Like, and then when I met you in the studio, I was like, I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, we worked together over at the nursing home. And
I was a CENA for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it raising my son. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite jobs. And when I was in school, the teacher actually pulled me aside and told me that I was never going to get a job because the way I look.
Oh, jeez.
And I said to her, oh, no, that's not how it works in my world.
Right.
And so I put it out there into the universe that the job was going to fit me not fit the job, because I know the space I was coming from. And so I worked at 2 big medical facilities. I worked at home health care. I've worked in lots of different things, and nobody has ever complained. Yeah. And I just love my residents. I loved my job, loved it. And that is probably one of the most worthwhile, like, just the things to give back in that way.
Yeah.
You know, and when my kids were growing up, both of them, I was lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom when they were younger, and I worked in daycare. So I worked with infants, and I was a daycare teacher, and I did that for like 10 years. And I loved that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. And so I got to see 2 different spectrums, you know,
right.
But I've been there, in the nursing homes, holding people's hands as they pass away and things like that, and experienced all that. But I was just, I've been reading for people for over 25 years. Yeah. And Spirit, my guides, came to me. I had just met Jim, and we had just moved in together, and I was working in a medical facility, and they said, you're supposed to do readings full time. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
This part of your life is done. And it was right after my hysterectomy and stuff. And I wasn't listening. Again, was not listening because I'm stubborn, and I was not listening. And my back went out.
Oh,
and
my
then
gosh.
my shoulder started hurting. And that's when I started seeing Julia Deere.
Yeah.
And she told me, she says, Crystal, nope, it's my phone. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
She says, Crystal, your shoulder's hurting because you're emotionally drawn because of this job. And It's not the job. It's just that you're not supposed to be there anymore. And I seriously had gone to chiropractors, massage therapist, everywhere. And nobody was getting my shoulder stop hurting. And It was like pain. So when I finally made the decision to quit that job and do this readings full time, the shoulder pain went away. Just
Crazy.
like that.
That's incredible.
And the only time it ever comes back is when I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do. Interesting.
Yeah. And so many times we don't listen to our bodies.
I'm big, like I said, signs. Listen to the signs. They're all out there. And when you hear something, I don't care what it is, whatever you believe in, when you hear that higher power saying, don't do that or do this, we should be listening. I did a psychic fair a long time ago, and I went there, and it was an okay experience, but I just was being told by my guides that wasn't where I was supposed to be.
Right.
Said, okay, fine. The next year, I ignored that, and I went back, and I ended up with a broken tooth.
Oh, no.
Now I don't have a tooth. So, I'm not saying I don't want anybody to misunderstand and think that my guides are doing these things to me.
Right.
I honestly, when this all happened with my brain, I started counseling because I needed someone to talk to.
Right.
And I needed to, my husband was going through enough with his with the emotions, with everything. I needed someone that I could just bounce things off of and talk to. And so I went to him, and he asked me, he says, what do you mean? What do you think? Do you think your guides are doing this to you when you got that message that, something's bad's going to happen? I said, I never once thought that my guides or God or anything did this to me.
Right.
Never. I wouldn't think that at all, because that's not what they do. I do believe that they were trying to warn me of a weakness that I had in my physical brain that I didn't know about, and that I could have probably bypassed it if I just would have listened. So no one did anything to me ever in my lifetime. No higher being, no guides did anything negative to me. They were just warning me. They know things that we don't. God knows way more than we do.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So when I'm going through my life and I hear something say, turn here, don't go there, don't do this, or slow down and take a break,
Listen.
or something's going to blow.
Yeah.
you listen.
You do. You truly do listen to your gut. And about the whole therapy thing, I know that I've met people and they've got like a stigma about going to therapy, and people are going to think this of me, and people are going to, they're going to try to make me take medicine. They're going to make me do this. And you really are in charge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if you are seeing a therapist, you really are still in charge. You can say that you do not want medication. You have that right. You know, and as far as sitting there and going, well, people are going to think something bad of me if I go to therapy. Guess what? All of us in the room, if we if we were asked if we had like any kind of mental something, depression, whatever, I think everybody is either shaking their meds or raising their hand.
The thing, for me, my thing is when it all happened, I'm like, I'm supposed to be the one helping people.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have to go to therapy. I did all that when I was younger, but young age, I think I was 13 years old when I was diagnosed with bipolar personality disorder, and I was cutting myself. I was a cutter, and I have scars to show it. And I was in 2 mental hospitals at 16 years old because I wanted to die. Yeah. I was put on Prozac for 4 years. I was on lithium for as long time. I was, I was raped and molested at 8 years old. Duh. I mean, a lot of other stuff happened too. I mean, duh, of course. But no one took the time to actually understand that. They just, here, take this, and it didn't really do much for me personally. Right. For me personally, I have nothing against medicine whatsoever, but for me personally, I know in my path I'm supposed to do as natural as possible. That's just what I'm supposed to do. And so, it wasn't until my early 30s I tried to kill myself. Right. Because I was just like, I can't take this anymore. Because it was rough. Because at 18, I went off of everything on my own and tried to do it by myself. Yeah. It was rough. And so it wasn't until I really got into the meditation and started really getting into the spiritual aspect of things for myself, and relying on someone else besides me, a higher being, or anything on, your spirit guides or angels or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. To me, that's one of the most important things. I have to feed my spirit every single day. And so it's definitely, when I decided, it was about 2 months in, I decided to go to counseling because I felt myself backsliding. And I didn't want to go backwards. And when I sat in front of him, and I specifically picked this specific counselor out because I could tell he was reading energy, open to things. Right. And so I sat in front of him and he just laid it all out. And I said, and I'm not going to be put on anything. And this is how I need this to go. And this is why I'm here and what I need to do for myself. And he's been on board.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
Sometimes it is a bit rough, and you have that right to be like, okay, I don't want to see you. Yeah. I'm going to move on if you don't find the right therapist. Absolutely. Or whatever. I kind of went through a situation with that. When I first started, I've been off and on since I was younger, going to therapists and everything. And I had gone and I started again. I was going through a rough part in my life. And I went in and I had asked, because I was married at the time, and my thought was, well, I want to have kids. I didn't want to go on any kind of medication because I didn't want anything to happen, and endanger having a kid and anything to them. So I had asked, well, is this medication safe if I do get pregnant? And she was like, well, why would you want to do that? And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And she says, well, with your mom having bipolar and all these other things that she had, why would you want to do that? And I got so upset because my mom was my best friend. Right. And I was like, she was the best mom. I said, she was the best mom and the best person. I got upset. I started crying. I said, she was the best person I ever knew. And, best person. And at the time she was still alive. I said, she's a great mother. Mm-hmm. And I was so upset. I walked out. Yeah. And I went up to the front desk and I said, I never want to see her again. Yep. I want a different therapist. I never want to see her again. Mm-hmm. And I got a different therapist. Yeah, absolutely. I did not deal with that. I would not listen. And I walked out. I ended up getting myself caught in the eye on the car door because I flung it open because I was mad and I was upset. But that's just another thing. Yeah. You don't have to. You don't have to put up with that.
No, you really don't.
You don't.
No.
You have the right.
I have a similar story as well, where a psychologist wanted to actually admit me because I was dreaming of my dead friend from the car accident. Right. And she was telling me, get yourself up, girl.
Right.
Get going.
Yeah.
And I told this to the therapist, and he pulled my parents aside and said, I think you might want to admit her. And my parents looked at him and said, no, I think we want a different therapist.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
sent him walking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you are in control, and don't let just one bad experience with a therapist or whatever deter you from trying again, or you'll find what you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, with listening.
Yeah, and it's nice to have someone to talk to and to listen to that's unbiased, and you know, and definitely you have to find someone that you click with. I even find with doctors, a lot of times we feel that we're powerless over our own health, or we listen to doctors with blind faith, and I think it's so important to take control of your health. And somebody once told me a long time ago, because the type of female cancer I had to get biopsies done, and I had healed it. There was no cells. Everything was gone. But you're supposed to get checked. That's what they tell you. You're supposed to go every so years to get checked. So I went and got checked, and they wanted to do a biopsy. Even though they didn't see anything, she still wanted to do a biopsy. And everything in me told me, no, you don't need one, but I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So she did the biopsy, and I ended up in the hospital the next day because she cut too deep and I was bleeding.
Oh my gosh.
So through that experience, a friend of mine said to me, Crystal, you have control over your own body.
Yeah.
You can say no. You don't have to let them do it if you don't feel comfortable or it's not something. Take control of your body.
Yeah.
And so when this happened to me, and I felt really powerless at first, and I said, no. I have control over this. I can choose what I want, what I don't want. Even if nobody understands, it's what's best for me. And I have just, people have messaged me and said, it's been months and I can't get an MRI, or it's been this, and they keep dragging me around. I was like, no, you stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
You say, no, you pay for this insurance. This is your insurance. They are work for us.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
so when my family doctor knows, I've been to him for 3 years. He knows if I go into him that he says, you won't take anything. You won't take the antibiotics. You won't take this. What can I do for you? I said, give me something else.
Yep.
Tell me another way. And so now he's starting to go, okay, well, I think you should meditate, or I think you should do this, or I think you should do that. And then, I just feel that I manifest my doctors because I don't settle for anything less. And the neurosurgeon, the same thing. He makes money doing brain surgery. That's how he makes his money.
Right.
This guy told me, I don't think we should do surgery. I think that we should, wait and watch and see. And these are your options. He says, I can do surgery if you want me to. That's why a lot of people are like, after I had posted about it, they were messaging me saying, well, this guy will do surgery and this doctor will do surgery. I don't want surgery.
Right.
My doctor is very confident. I feel very comfortable with him. If I didn't, I wouldn't be there.
Right.
And he's a neurosurgeon. He's not even a neurologist, but I trust him completely. And he's the one that's dealing with my care. And so if he was to say, I think you should do surgery, and then we would discuss that. But, it's just, I trust him, but I also know that I'm very vocal, and this is my health, this is my body, this is my brain, and I will do it my way.
And that's and you have to. You have to do that to be able to take care of yourself. And that is most important. And you have the right.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm sure all of us have had experience with doctors that we just don't feel that they have what is best for our best interest.
Right.
So, I mean,
and I love doctors. I don't want to say, I think
right.
doctors do a good job. They do, but they don't know everything.
Right.
Nobody does. None of us do. And that's the one thing people have told me, well, maybe you should get a second opinion. Maybe you should go to a different neurologist or neurosurgeon. The thing with my neurosurgeon is that he even told me this first time that he sat down with me. He says, I don't work alone. I have a team of doctors I work with.
Yeah.
This isn't just me telling you this. This is me consulting other doctors and talking to other doctors, and so I trust that. But no, I believe in everything in balance. I believe that there's definitely things needed if need be. If medicine needs to be taken, then you take your medicine,
right?
Type of thing. But I always, for my own health and my own personal preference, I always try to find another way, because I'm extremely sensitive to things physically. if it has a side effect, I'm going to get it. It's just going to happen.
Right.
And so I have to be very cautious of what I take. And I even tell doctors, you know what? I don't think you need to give me that much high of a dose because I know my body. And so it picks up like that. And so you just definitely be mindful. And I love doctors. I just don't think that they know everything.
Right. And that's part of being human. And another part of being human is when you're, saying that people are messaging and trying to say, well, I know this person that will do surgery or whatnot. It's part of us being in our human nature that we want to help the people that we love. And that's one thing. And that was something I kind of touched on in the first episode, because when my mom was sick, I was just like, I wanted to save her.
Yeah.
Everything in me wanted to do everything I could to try to save her. Truth of the matter was there wasn't anything that I personally could do.
Right.
And, like I said, though, I mean, we feel that and we want to try to help the people that we love. But, and it's also, though, if you can respect when somebody who is going through it says, well, this is what I'm choosing my path.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard thing to respect or to understand it.
Right.
But if the quicker that you can understand it, the more quality of time that you have with that person.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I had so many people coming at me with do this, do that, do this, do that. It was so overwhelming when I was just trying to keep my head above water each day. Right. So it's like I finally, in the aspect of my treatment, I just decided I'm just going to do what I need to do. And, I just decided that this is what works best for me. Yeah. And
and it seems like everything that you're doing is working.
It seems to be,
and that's good. Like you're trusting, trusting in yourself, and you're listening to yourself too. And along with all the team that you are working with, because you really do have a team of people that are standing beside you, and that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is really great. And we have a couple more things that are being said in the chat. So after the comment of more to the show, Jeremy said, agreed. Tony, awesome episode, girls. And he also said, absolutely have to take control over yourself. And Tony says, doctors actually hearing you instead of listening are amazing. Yes. And Jeremy also is saying that just because you have a white coat doesn't mean that you are all knowing. And Tony agreed with that as well, saying it's so true. And, for us, and Tony and myself and my fiance, Adam, all have the same doctor. And she's one of those people that actually do listen. Yeah. And she's very thorough about everything. And I recommended, I'm the one that started going to see her, and I recommended to Tony, I'm like, you should really go try and see her, because his doctor, I think, was leaving the practice. So at first he was kind of apprehensive about it. And I think she's actually is just a nurse practitioner. But she's so thorough and
I've seen
just
a
amazing.
Lot. I've noticed that nurse practitioners are just like really on it.
They are. They really are.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a lot of things going, and that our doctor, she's funny. She comes in, she'll have an actual conversation. Yep. Her bedside manner is great. There are some that just don't.
Yep.
They don't. They're there just to figure out what is going wrong, and that's that. And
when this all happened, the first doctor diagnosed me with a cold. So the next doctor, this is all in 1 week.
Oh, wow.
The next doctor diagnosed me with an inner ear rupture, that my inner eardrum had ruptured. The next doctor diagnosed me with something else. And I'm just like, none of this is right. None of it is right. This is not right. And so it was, in the middle of the night, that voice, which I really believe my dad has passed away, that it was him. Yeah. Get an MRI. Do it now. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, what else do I got to lose? And, but it's like, and I'm going to say a couple months ago, part of this tumor is you have to be really careful of headaches, but it's also a side effect of the tumor. So headaches are known to always have headaches. Yeah. And so, but you have to be really careful, because a really bad headache can be proof of a new bleed. So if I get extremely bad headache that won't go away, I have to go to the emergency room. Okay. And so I had a really strong bad headache. And it this is probably about a month ago. It lasted about 3 days, and I couldn't get rid of it. So I started getting scared. And so he told me, go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital. They did a CAT scan. the doctors there read it and said that, it looks like there's a new bleed. We're going to have to send you to Beaumont. I'm freaking out because I'm like, I don't think it's a new bleed. I think you're wrong. And finally, luckily, my neurosurgeon, again, is just amazing because they got a hold of him. He talked to them, did a video conference, looked at the scans and said, nope, it's not a new bleed. Looks better. She doesn't need to come. Give her this, this, and this. They got my headache under control and then I went home. But if I would have just listened to the doctors to begin with and didn't fight, I just believe that you should always listen to what your feelings are about things, no matter what it is. If they say one thing and you're like, no, this doesn't feel right, you need to go off of that.
Yeah, go with your gut.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really. I mean, I have found that whenever I go with my gut, I'm right.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to it, it is right.
And then every time you don't.
Right. Well, and I had the same, a similar kind of thing. When Becky went with me to find out what the next steps were for figuring out where my cancer stage was at and what was happening, I just did not feel right about the doctor. Mm-hmm. Did not like him.
She didn't feel right. I didn't feel right.
So when I went back to see the doctor that found the cancer, he was like, so how did your appointment go? What's the plan? And I was like, I don't like him.
Right.
I did not like any part of it. I didn't feel it. I wasn't. He said, okay, we will, get a hold of Ann Arbor. We'll get you into Ann Arbor. Yep. And that was the best decision because as soon as I had talked to my new surgeon, she was like, oh, he was going to do the Da Vinci. And for your type of cancer, the way that they get rid of it, cancer would have fallen off and it could have grown,
Yep.
And I was like, okay. So that we did the right thing. And she was awesome. She's such a great, surgeon. So again, you listen, you're in control of your body. Listen to your gut. I mean, it's not going to steer you wrong.
No.
I've not found yet to where it actually has.
No, not at all. Yep.
But with that being said, we are definitely at that point, and we've had such a great time with you, Crystal.
Oh,
and
thank you.
We thank you for sharing your story and inspiring other people. And I think everybody that will be able to listen to this podcast will have that inspiration from you. And
awesome.
We are here, behind you and, continue to cheer you on and
thank you.
Everything that you're doing. You had mentioned that you have a store.
Yes.
Do you want to, before we close,
sure.
if you could share that? So,
I just, I'm, like I said, I'm crafty. I make things. And I also, I have an assortment of different crystals and stones. I always carry white sage. I have clothing. I've got all kinds of little trinkets and things like that. Usually most of his stuff is like a metaphysical nature, books, things like that. It's in my office at my home. Right now, just because the way my brain is, I do it, we could set something up privately and all you got to do is just get a hold of me. I'm not, posting on Facebook right now, but I check my messages all the time. And so if you message me on Facebook, say that you're interested in the store, you want to buy something or you want to take a look, just let me know and we can set something up because that's not a problem. But I do plan on when it gets warmer out to have it more of a consistent thing and being open because I'm there anyways. So but that's something I really love to do. And I'm going to be definitely doing more of these canvas art and tapping into that type of thing and be broadcasting that.
So sorry if your Facebook does blow up because after
I
post that,
I was going to say, we will definitely be sharing on the Survivor Girl.
I think you're going to probably get a lot of
I'm pretty sure, because that is amazing.
Awesome. So, all right. Well, you guys, this has been Survivor Girl podcast. We have been in studio live with Crystal Le Fay telling her amazing Survivor story, like you all through everything that she's been through in her life. So, don't let it be bitter, be better. I would just kind of put her on the spot, everybody.
Yeah.
And always, guys, just remember that life is best lived.
Yes.
So keep on going, striving and surviving and everything that you guys are doing. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back again next month.
Yes,
in
May.
And we will post when our next episode will be.
Yes.
And just keep on paying attention to our social media because we are going to let you know we've almost filled up our schedule of guests.
Yes, we have.
Super exciting.
Awesome.
So guys, be sure to pay attention to our also social media.
Yes.
I can't even talk because I'm
Thank
so
you
excited.
for the likes, the shares, the subscriptions.
And the love.
Keep it up. And the love, yes.
So thank you guys for tuning in. And we will be back next month.